What's happening? I'm Kevin Daisy.
I'm Eric Olson.
All right, just the opposite. What's happening, everybody? All right, today we are going to be talking about messaging apps. So we put out a book maybe about 2 months ago. It was digital marketing trends for 2020, and there were 5 trends in there. And messaging, in particular, messaging apps was one of the trends. So I started thinking about this with email in particular. So everybody loves to hate email. There's a lot of problems with email, you know. Like, well, first of all, like it's kind of a source of stress for me. You know?
Oh yeah. I think that would be for everybody, right? You come in, you gotta check your emails. You do a couple things, you go back, you check your emails. It really, probably the biggest distraction for everyone in their day is going back to their emails, and then trying to be, I guess, disciplined enough to be like, I'm gonna check my emails twice a day. I've told myself that probably 100 times. Never do it.
There's no way I could do that. That's impossible.
Yeah,
I mean, this thing is rarely more than arm's length away from me, and frankly, it's the last thing I do at night and the first thing I do in the morning.
Yep.
Maybe we're a little bit different because, you know, we've got this thing that we're trying to run here. But I need to know what's going on in my inbox. And then also, for me, it's a to-do list, frankly.
Yep.
It's not a great to-do list, but if there's email in there that's unread, I know I have to read it. And if there's email that I've read that's still in there, that means that I have some action to take. So I'm constantly going back to it. I mean, I probably look at my email 50 times a day. Easy.
I'm even if I'm off work or on vacation, you know, I'm actually feel better about checking my email because then I know if there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, and then I can continue relaxing. Where some people just have to completely disengage. I'd rather know what's going on. It doesn't mean I want to respond or whatever, but at least I know what's happening. Imagine, though, here's the email. Why it sucks is, imagine if you, on notebook paper, made a nice to-do list, but then people could throw crap in there on it. And not
Right.
even work-related stuff. Spam, come to my event, here's my newsletter. And then your to-do list is just cluttered with all this other crap. So then you get distracted. And then when you're talking about customers and engaging with people, that's how they treat their email. You're going to be the last thing that they want to respond to. Google automatically puts promotions in promotions folder, so I almost delete that automatically and don't even look at half of the stuff.
Yeah, so there's a ton of problems with the email, and it's asynchronous, meaning like you send the email and then it may not be looked at for a long time. So, and actually there's one other thing. So like my daughter, I have a 16-year-old daughter. She has an email address, but she will not use it. Like I can send an email and 2 weeks would go by and she won't respond to it and she won't even look at her email. So I have to tell her, hey, I sent you this email. And it seems to be pretty prevalent with Generation Z in particular.
Yeah.
They're just not interested in email and they're not looking at it. They care more about messaging apps. And
Absolutely. They want instant.
So what's cool about messaging is like that instant back and forth. It's synchronous, right? I send you a message and you may not see it immediately, but you're going to send a message right back. There's very little delay.
But now you know someone read it, and so you can see. And for me, sometimes I'll ignore some. I got a ton of messages yesterday through Messenger and all these other places, and there's some people who are like, hey, you didn't get back to me, or didn't respond immediately from a text message. It's like, I almost try to treat it like my email sometimes. And there's some people they're used to immediate response from everybody, and so that's kind of how everyone's being trained, especially for the newer generations coming up. I send you a message, I'm watching my screen to see your response.
That's right. Yeah.
So the cool thing about Messages app is, for like a business, is we might not have people sitting around just waiting for people to message us, but what we're going to talk about here today is how you can utilize messaging apps and how you can use like AI and automated responses that are pretty darn good, almost like a human.
Yeah. So by the way, if you have a question, go ahead and put your question in the comments section, and we will answer it before we stop the live stream. One of the cool things about messaging apps is that, there's a lot of different types of messaging apps, right? So like what Kevin just alluded to would be something that would be like on a website where maybe you're interacting with an AI agent at first,
Yeah.
You can transition over to a human. There's other kinds of just messaging apps in general, like one-to-one messaging apps. Every social media has messaging built into it as direct messages.
Yep.
Even
DMs.
even like non-social media apps have a lot of messaging built in. And then there's some apps that are like that's all they do is messaging.
Yeah.
But from a business standpoint, it could be very beneficial because you can pre-program in certain questions and certain answers, and maybe even give people like a list of things to choose from, and you can start having branching logic put in there, which we haven't done much of, but it would be kind of nice to actually do that.
Yeah. So from our business standpoint, it's the amount of leads we get, we're B2B, and we don't have as much activity as say a B2C customer. So someone that has a needed service that's say for homeowners, or that you have a lot of transactions. Well, you can spend time on the phone all day answering people's questions and helping them out, and they don't become a lead. They're not a right fit. You're just helping them, or maybe it's an existing customer. And you can pre-load these things with all kinds of different frequently asked questions, FAQs that they get responses to.
Right.
And then if they become far enough down the pipe that it looks like they're interacting enough to become a client or a customer, then human interaction can then jump in. But it's almost like having an assistant do a lot of the work until it gets to a certain point, and then you can transition into to reach out to them personally.
So one of the interesting examples that I've seen recently of someone that uses messaging very well is a person that we follow online, and he's a digital marketing agency coach. His name is Jason Swank. If you go to thisisarray.con, that's SWENK, so jasonswank.com. He's actually replaced his entire contact us form with a Facebook Messenger. Which I think is, I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah.
I've seen where a lot of companies will have the traditional contact us form. They'll have other ways of contacting them with email addresses, phone numbers, and they'll have chat in addition to that. But what Jason has done is he's actually completely replaced the contact us form with Facebook. So if you click on the contact button, it actually opens a new tab and it takes you right into Facebook Messenger. And most people are logged into Facebook.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. I've actually interacted with his probably 6-8 months ago. And Jason will respond to you, and it really seems natural and like it's him. And you're talking back and forth, it responds, and it's kind of all built in. And again, it does a lot of the work for him until you get to the point where you basically answered a question enough to where he's like, okay, this is a potential prospect.
Yeah.
And then Jason will actually be the one talking to you. I actually tagged Jason in the post here and called him out so he can see this.
So I went into his Facebook Messenger, and you click Get Started, and the very first thing that comes back is a GIF of Don Draper from Mad Men. So it's kind of funny, and he basically says, "Hi, this is the Jason bot." So
it's cool. He acknowledges it's not him.
Yeah, I like how he does that, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of times when people try to automate, or when they automate, they try to pretend, or they want to pretend like it's really them sending these messages out. Yeah. But there's always problems with automation, which is the timing may be off. You may have actually had like a live interaction with the person, and then this automated message comes out that would be like very awkward in a normal conversation. It's like the wrong timing or something like that. And so like one of the things that he does that I like is whenever an automated message comes out, it says Jason robot.
Yeah. So he acknowledges it and makes it kind of funny, and then you don't think you're being sold. So if it just said, "Hey, this is Sally," like if you go to a website and you got the chats on the bottom, and there's a million different platforms out there. Those are really good too, but it'll just be like, "Hey, this is John. How can I help you?" And it's like, John's not typing that.
Yeah.
Until you respond, then maybe John or someone else will pick up in there.
There's someone else that has done a very good job of that in the past too. I don't know if he still does it, but I remember several years ago, Brennan Dunn, who is someone that's local and that we know very well. I think I signed up for like his email and newsletter, and I remember reading one of them where it said something to the effect of, although I'm not personally sending this message, if you respond, I will get it. and I'll respond to that. So he
I like that.
acknowledged that like what was sent out was automated, but once you reply, then it goes into human interaction. And I know that Jason does the same thing, just like you were saying.
Yep.
But I don't know how to share it here, but there's the example for Jason Swank is in his first response, he asked a question. And the question is, are you an agency owner? And then there's 2 buttons that you can select. You can type your own message in, I guess, if you want. But the idea is you pick yes or no, and then there's branching logic. So I would encourage everyone to just go try that out. I think it's pretty neat. And I haven't seen it yet in this chat, but I know that there's at some point in the branching logic, he says, like one of the options is, I'm just testing and playing around with this thing because a lot of people, I think, like what he's doing.
Yeah. No, I like how he's done it and replaced his contact button. That's something really cool. We are looking at that ourselves probably.
Is this a message from Sean Burke? Oh, so someone posted a message on our live stream. This guy back here.
He's back here
This
somewhere.
is from Sean. Who, you often see his awesome attire in the background. He likes to tweet about that after the fact. Wave, Sean. All right. So Sean asks, messaging seems to be a great way to add personality to a website and another opportunity to leverage branding. So I think that was a statement more than a question. I think we kind of covered that, which I think is true. So, like we were talking about, like with Jason Swank, how he sent back that GIF of Don Draper.
Yeah.
It's like right off the bat, it's just kind of playful. It adds some personality.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And honestly, like again, with the website ones that pop up on you immediately and be like, hey.
Super freaking annoying.
I don't like those as much. I don't usually interact with those. Some of them do them right, and some of them wait till you've done some certain action that might make you want to interact with that. But I do know that they have worked, and they work from the consumer side of things. B2B space, I would probably not go that route. But again, for someone that needs something like HVAC or immediate service and some kind of a plumbing service, something that they need something right away, where it's like, hey, if you need something right away, 24 hours response, what do you need right now? That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. So, with messaging, you get rid of the asynchronous nature of those messages. So, we really should implement this on our website, actually, because right now we're very traditional. We want people to call us or submit the contact us form. But what we do on the back end is, instead of waiting for that email to come through from the contact us form, is we have it integrated with Slack.
Yeah.
And when it posts to Slack, then it does the @channel, and we get a notification right away.
We're on that thing right away.
Yeah, but the problem is then we have to pick up the conversation with some other in some other format, like by sending an email or by calling. It'd be much better if we got notified immediately when someone asked us a question through the Messenger app. And then we could respond from our phone, right, or from the actual app itself.
Well, here's the thing too: is when we get forms, we like with your contact forms, you should always be. Don't ask too many questions because they're not going to fill it out, right? So we don't ask a lot of questions on ours. But then when we get that person that is interested, where they haven't answered questions and haven't responded to anything, that call is kind of we don't know what they want at all. So we don't have anything.
Context.
We have nothing to go off of. If we had the questions, sometimes people don't want to talk to you. They just want to answer some questions, and that might be all they want for now, and they might come back later. But that allows them to, if they have a question and that can answer it, and there's some FAQs that are built in, they can kind of get some of their questions answered, and then that might be, okay, I'm not a fit for these guys, and they don't waste our time, we don't waste their time. If not, it could be a little more context to it that says, oh, they're interested in SEO, and they're in this kind of company, and they answer those questions with conversation. But now we have more context. When I call them, I'm like, hey, I saw you need some help with SEO. You're in the IT industry. We have tons of clients that we help in that space. So again, I think it'd be very beneficial for that as well. And then these days, people like to do their own thing. They like to be answering their questions and do the research. And I think if you do it right, this allows them, again, to make their own decision before they go all the way in and go, call me. and some people just don't want to take that step yet.
Yeah.
So,
So one of the apps that I started using probably about a year ago is WhatsApp. So I was overseas and I went with a group of people, and we thought that we were going to have trouble with text messaging, so we all loaded up WhatsApp.
yeah.
And we used it during the trip. And then we continued to use it after the trip, and we created a couple of groups. And it turned out, so I was with about 8 people, a subset of a group of 60 people. 8 of us went over to Macau, which is by Hong Kong. And so we were using it during that trip. And when I came back, I was like, hey, I want to use this for the bigger group too, because it was very easy for us to communicate through WhatsApp. Even though we all had access to everyone else's phone number and email address, we just weren't communicating through those means, like as a group or like one-to-one. So communication was very difficult for us. We had to go through like a moderator, which really sucked. And Facebook groups just didn't do it for us. We didn't have a way of communicating. Yeah. WhatsApp solved that problem immediately. And so I pushed it out to the rest of the people out of the 60. And I was honestly shocked at how many people already had WhatsApp and had an account. It was way more than I expected. And at this point, we're up to like 68 people. 50, I think it's 59 of them have got on and joined the private group that I created.
Which good adoption rate. That's
which
good.
It's incredible. Like you cannot get that in like Facebook groups, right? Because you say Facebook and some people love it, some people hate it. You know.
I'm part of a board of young professionals, about 100 of us, and we have a Facebook group, and it's going from email and trying to get people to use the Facebook group, and it's been a small adoption rate so far. And these are all under 40, under 30, most of them people. So it's hard to get them to get on there and actually respond to anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Slack is another one, a messaging app that is pretty popular in some circles. So certainly like any kind of technology company is like really on board with Slack.
We run our whole company on it, pretty much.
Yeah.
As far as communications go. Yeah.
I think as you get further away, industry-wise from technology, it's the likelihood of you using Slack decreases greatly.
Yeah.
But Slack is one of those things that's kind of contentious. I've found very similar to like a Facebook group. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's usually about 50-50, and so you just can't get a big adoption rate. So I was surprised that WhatsApp was popular with my group. And we've all of a sudden gone from not communicating, only communicating with people like 5 people that you know real well, to all of a sudden you can reach out to anybody in this group and ask them a question, either in a group setting or it could be one-on-one through a direct message.
Well, I remember when you just had to wait for someone to call you or call them. Back in the day, right?
I remember when you said, "Hey, we're going to meet after school."
That's it.
If you're not there,
I can't find you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not there, I don't know how to get a hold of you. And then I remember AOL came out, AOL Messenger, and like all in high school, I had it, and like everyone was on there, and that's how you talk to people.
AIM.
AIM. There you go. But so it's been around for a long time. It's just now it's starting to be used for business activities.
So
that's the difference in lead generation.
Yeah,
lead generation. I think with the ManyChat, MANY chat is the app that Jason Swank uses, but it integrates with Messenger. But if you look at their site, it's really lead generation is what they're focused on. It's generating conversations with potential leads and getting them in the funnel. So
I've heard ManyChat referenced a lot of times also, Marketing School with Neil Patel and Eric Sue. They've mentioned it a couple of times, and I've heard it mentioned in other podcasts and other places online. I've looked into it. It's cheap. I think it's like $15 a month.
I'm actually looking at it.
I would love to. Actually, we really should do something like this for our website.
Stay tuned. We're going to build it right here, right now, live.
Hey, back to WhatsApp. So one of the interesting things about WhatsApp is that they have a completely different version of WhatsApp for business. And so it solves this problem that ManyChat is trying to solve as well, like how you can communicate with your clients or your prospects in real time very easily and very quickly. in something that's universal. With ManyChat, it actually uses Facebook Messenger. I don't know if it uses other messaging platforms as well. I know for sure it uses Facebook Messenger.
I'm not sure there.
I don't know.
I'm actually going to post a link to that.
ManyChat?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's $15 a month. And maybe there's a couple plans. And when I looked at it, I looked at it probably 2 months ago, and that's how much it was. But yeah, WhatsApp, they're in the game. WhatsApp is extremely popular in places besides the United States. That's why I was surprised with my group that there were so many people that already had WhatsApp accounts because we're in the United States. And
yeah.
before that, I personally didn't know a lot of people that...
$10 a month.
Wow. Cheap.
Or there's a free version as well.
And when I looked at this, again, it was probably 2 months ago, but when I looked at ManyChat, the free version, it did a lot. Like, you know how there's a comparison chart? Well, in the free column, there were a lot of check marks, like a lot.
Yeah. And we're not pushing the product or selling it. We're not being paid to say this.
Oh, I'm getting paid for this. You're not getting paid for this?
Actually, I was going to say, what kind of shirt you got on?
Yeah.
It's hard to see yours.
Yeah. So we got some free T-shirts in the mail.
Thank you, Raven Tools, for sponsoring this show.
Yeah, so pro tip, if you want your brand on the Lunchtime live stream, send us T-shirts. Like, we did not plan this at all.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey, so one other messaging app that I've been using pretty extensively is called Marco Polo.
Oh, yeah. Talk about that. That's really cool.
So Marco Polo is really neat. So it's a messaging app, but instead of using text, you use video. So instead of like, let's say I'm driving, right? This probably happens a lot to a lot of people. You're driving and you want to communicate something to someone.
Yeah.
You don't really want to get on the phone with them and have a conversation. You just need to tell them, like, hey, I'm on my way to the gym. This is how I use it, right? So like, let's say Kevin and I are gym partners, right? I'll be driving, and a lot of times I'll put my phone up on the dash, you know, like I've got a little holder, and I'll go into Marco Polo, and I'll bring it up, but I'll hit start, and it starts to record the video, and I'll just say, hey, I'm on my way, and then you get the message. So as a matter of fact, let's see here. So here's one.
We're not waiting all day.
Okay. Wow. You heard it from Brent. Yikes. Oh.
So this is my...
We're not waiting, E.
This is me when I'm running late at the gym, and they sent me a message, but it was in video format.
Not waiting.
And I responded with,
Go ahead and get started, dude. I'll see you guys at the bench. Warm it up for me.
Warm it up for
I'm here.
and there's more. It just goes back and forth. So you actually have like a stream of messages going back and forth, but it's all video based,
Yeah, it's
which
really
is
cool.
really freaking cool. Like it's
And they're pretty funny, too.
it's fun.
And it's
Now,
private, more right? It's between you.
It's totally private.
Yeah.
You can create groups, which I have not done, but you can create groups for like your family. I think my buddy Jason.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
My buddy Jason, who's like the most non-technical person in the world and does not try like new stuff, he's the one that introduced it to me.
He's going to be mad now.
Well, he's so non-technical, he's not
He's
going
not
to
on
watch
He's not on Facebook, so.
Yeah. But he
funny.
actually introduced it to me because his family was using it. And so they were using it to keep in touch with one another. So they were using it kind of like a Facebook group for your family, or maybe just Facebook posting in general, but tighter. And a lot of people, they're not comfortable on camera, you know, in video. But you know, once you get over that, it's honestly a lot of fun.
Honestly, I recorded a podcast episode this week, and it was about video, and it was just like, if you're in business, you know, depending on what you do, even if you're a professional, you work for somebody, whatever, you got to be on video. You got to do it. You got to try to get used to it. You got to work it into being part of your plan. And so starting is the best, you know, you just got to start. And whether it's recording yourself or a live stream like this or video interviews or whatever, but you have to start getting comfortable with that and getting out there with it. So, and talking about video, there's a new app out. I read an article this morning. The app's been coming for a while and it's been out there for a while, but it's a Byte. It's B-Y-T-E.
Byte app.
Byte app is basically a competitor, although the founder says it's not a competitor of TikTok, but it's from the founder of Vine. Overnight, from the announcement I think they made yesterday, overnight it's the #1 free app on the App Store. So they see that there's probably going to be a lot of technical issues with that because of such a large amount of people trying to get it. And they're slowly rolling out features.
So.
Messaging and all that is probably going to be one of the features they roll out. So that's just another app that will probably have some type of messaging feature.
So I heard about this app about 2 weeks ago on Twitter. All of a sudden I started to see people post about Vine is back. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I started to see people say, hey, follow me at this handle on Byte. And actually one of the ones that really got my attention was Pat Flynn. He's on the platform now. And so I don't know why until today, but Kevin sent out an article on our internal Slack about Byte. And so I just downloaded it. And it's, let me turn it up. It's got music, but it's 6-second videos.
Yep, 6-second video loops is basically their whole platform.
And yes, it loops, so you'd want to make it in a way where it loops. And if you want, you could just scroll up, right? Very similar to like TikTok where you're scrolling vertically.
It's very similar to TikTok, but they said they had their own plan and their own thing, so it's not going to be like TikTok. But
what I haven't seen in here is messaging.
now they said they're going to roll out other features like a feed and all these other things like a normal social media application. So it's just a matter of time.
Actually, this is really interesting. I just noticed, I'll show this in a second. This video is from TikTok.
Oh, wow. So someone shared it or saved it from TikTok and then loaded it on Byte.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it in the top left. It says TikTok. Yeah, so this is a TikTok video that was shared through Byte.
You can reuse that content, you know? Why make new content if you can reuse it? That's funny.
So that's one of the things that I just absolutely love about digital marketing is that it's always changing. And you know, one of the events that we're doing next month, which is like right around the corner, February 20th.
Tomorrow is this month.
Yeah. February 20th is the State of Digital Marketing address, and we're going to be covering a lot of these things. Actually, messaging is just like one of 5 kind of like intro topics that we're going to talk about. But there's just so much that's changing, like literally on a daily basis. There's either, like we've talked about TikTok, we've talked about Byte.
Yeah.
We've talked about ManyChat, Marco Polo. I'm guessing out of those 4, there's at least 2 or 3 that you haven't heard of, right?
Yeah.
And like we only know about these things because we're kind of in the industry, and this news kind of comes to us probably a little bit faster than it comes to the public. But this is always changing. And so like those 4 things are like new things, but with established frameworks like Twitter, like Facebook, like Instagram is changing super fast. So like these existing platforms, legacy platforms, I mean, you can almost call Instagram a legacy platform at this point because it's got a massive competitor behind it, or like massive competitor TikTok. And they're not growing very fast. So like Instagram is growing right now at 6% and is projected to decline to like 4%, 5% in the next couple of years. It's like it's done. Like it's just not. Whoever's going to get on Instagram is on Instagram. But then you have like TikTok. It's growing at 400+% in the last year. So like things are just crazy. always changing. So if you don't like change, like this is not somewhere you want to spend a lot of time. So this is where we spend all of our time, and what we're doing is we're distilling all of that change and what it really means and how you can apply it to your business to the State of Digital Marketing address.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if you want to run a business in 2020 or any year past this, you better get it in tune and be up to speed. At least have someone that can do it for you, but you have to be playing in these games, in these platforms. You have to be, and they change all the time. And I'm always thinking about for the state of, too, is I could almost come up with a list of new things that you don't know about the day of the event.
Yep.
Like, here's things that just happened today that are new.
That's a good idea.
And it's, I'm thinking about trying to pull something off like that where it's, just in the course of this week or whatever, these are things that have changed and new platforms that are out there that you don't know about. And just kind of set the tone for the event. It's constantly changing. Don't stop at this event and think you're good to go for 2020. You have to be up to speed. Now, I got a goal to. It seems like a pretty easy goal now, but it's to read 100 marketing articles this year. So now I got to have it. I get up, I check marketing news, I find an article. Boom! I found the one on Byte. It came out yesterday, and then it's like taking over the App Store. So I'm gonna try to keep up with that kind of stuff, and there's just always something new.
Always something new, and there's the attention of our society is just shifting. This has been happening for a long time. I mean, really, ever since the internet came out, that was a really big seismic shift.
Well, the internet's not going to go anywhere.
The internet's not going anywhere.
No, I meant it's not going to take off.
Oh, you think it's a fad?
Yeah, it's a fad.
I saw a comedian a couple years ago where he's like, these computers, they're really not going anywhere, are they? I was like, nah, you're going to have to learn how to use them.
Yeah.
But actually, just yesterday, we were in a meeting talking about TV advertising. One of our clients still does a very significant amount of TV advertising, but he's really like wondering if he wants to continue with TV or not. And we made a really compelling argument, I think, which is that people are not going to watch a TV commercial and then jump in their car and go to your retail location. Like, would you do that? Would you do that? I wouldn't do that. If I saw a TV commercial, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'd get on my phone and I'd Google, right? And I'd get on their website. But when we look at all the different sources of traffic and we slice up how much could have come from TV versus not, it was a very small percent. It was like 8.5 to 10% is what came from TV. But he's spending just as much on TV as he is on digital marketing, which is absurd, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just another example of how the society's changing. A lot of businesses, especially those that grew up on TV and print and billboards and radio, they're afraid. They don't understand it, But society has changed, attention's changed, and the way that you get your clients these days, of course, like TV has a place, billboards have a place. They'll work, but only to a certain extent. But anyone that you're trying to get to on TV, from a billboard, from newspaper, any of those people, they're also going to be on the internet, which is actually something that Sean said yesterday during the meeting, which was like genius. These people they're on the internet, right? So you can get to them through the internet, but the internet is changing super fast.
Yeah. At least you can be targeted too. So
that's right.
You're not just broadcasting.
Yeah, that was actually like the big point that he made, which I forgot to even say. Again, I'm Eric J. Olson, and
Kevin Daisy here.
Yeah, if you'd like to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter a lot. I am Eric J. Olson. That's Eric with a K, ending with a K. So ERIK, and Olson ending in ON. I am Eric J. Olson, and you can be found where?
LinkedIn's great for me. Just Kevin Daisy. So Daisey.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Kevin Daisy. My real name is actually available. .com too. You can go there.
That's pretty
Check
awesome.
it out.
Very cool. All right.
See you guys.